All the Young Dudes by MsKingBean89. Chapter 7. First Year Marauders. Wednesday, 15th September 1971. The next morning, James and Sirius could barely contain their excitement and hurried their dorm mates down to breakfast before any of the other Gryffindors. They were the first students to reach the Great Hall, other than a few Ravenclaws bent over their notes revisions with huge mugs of black coffee. Perfect, Sirius beamed at the empty benches. Front row seats. Bet no one shows up for hours. Peter groaned, half asleep, propped up on his elbows. Oh, cheer up. James poured all of them large mugs of tea. Don't want to see the fruits of our labor? Not at 6 in the morning, Peter replied, slurping his tea. Sirius winced at the sound and pushed a plate towards him. Have some toast and stop whining. Is that whinging? No, I don't care. Remus took some toast, too, and cut it into 4 pieces. He spread marmalade onto one quarter, jam onto another, butter on the third, and lemon curd on the last. He ignored the look of amusement Sirius was giving him. Remus had never had so much choice before, and was determined to make the most of every meal. Fortunately, they did not have to wait too long before the other students began to trickle in for breakfast. The first Slytherins arrived just as Remus was finishing his toast. 3 boys and 2 girls, third years. They walked over the table, quite unaware of the 4 eager Gryffindors watching them intently. For a few moments it was as if nothing was different. Sirius sighed with disappointment, but then the tallest boy shuffled slightly in his seat, rubbing his arm. Another seemed to be looking for something in his pocket, but from Remus's viewpoint he was clearly scratching his leg furiously. The third kept using his wand to rub behind his ear. It worked, James whispered, breathless with excitement. Even Peter looked cheerful, too. As more and more Slytherins filtered in, their problem became more obvious and more hilarious. By 7 o'clock, the Slytherin table was full of squirming, writhing, scratching boys and horrified-looking girls. Amicus Caro? Yeah. Amicus Caro, a burly 6th year, eventually ripped off his robes, his school jumper, and even his tie to claw at his chest, which Sirius could see was already red raw. He almost felt sorry for them. But then Snape came in. Whether it was karma or sheer luck, Severus seemed to have reacted particularly bad at the rosehip seeds. He walked in with his head bowed, hair falling over his face, but his nose was still visible and clearly bright red. Oh, Merlin! Sirius wheezed, laughing so hard he was holding his stomach. Tell me we got his face. Oi, Snivelus! James yelled out suddenly to get the other boys' attention. Snape spun around, looking up, his hair parted. The left side of his face was covered in an angry red rash, from his temples all the way down to his neck, disappearing under his uniform. His left eye was red too, and swollen and irritated. Looking good, Sirius crowed, and all 4 boys dissolved into giggles as Snape stormed out of the room. I'm gonna kill myself. By the time breakfast was over, the entire castle was buzzing with rumors about what exactly had come over the Slytherin boys. and James looked as though all of their Christmases had come at once, and even Peter had cheered up remarkably, reminding them all that he kept lookout, after all, making the entire venture possible. It was all Lupin's idea, though, Sirius returned, slapping Remus heartily on the back. What shall we do to celebrate, eh? Exploding snaps? Raid the kitchens? Remus shook Sirius off, smiling politely. Well, whatever you do, you're doing it without me, he replied. I've got double detention. From Slughorn? Yeah, and McGonagall, and Flitwick, but that's tomorrow. Then my herbology detention is over the weekend. Bloody hell, mate, James frowned. You going for a record or something? Remus shrugged. He was always being punished at St. Edmund's. All the boys were. Detention didn't bother him, though exploding snaps did sound like a lot of fun. Maybe you'd better start doing your homework, Sirius said gently. Remus rolled his eyes, getting up from the table. Come on, he said. It's Defense Against the Dark Arts first. Thought you two loved that. Thought you two loved that. Later that day, Remus was on his way to detention with Slughorn when he ran into Lily Evans. He was perfectly happy to keep walking, but she smiled and fell into step with him. Hi, Remus. Hi. Are you going to the dungeons? He nodded. Me too. I have to sell Slughorn that Severus can't make his detention. Oh, right. Did you hear what happened to the Slytherins? Yeah. Everyone had heard. It was all they'd been talking about all day, even during lessons. Fortunately, no one had a clue yet who'd done it. It had been a good idea, attacking the entire house at once. Who could guess who the target had been? Crazy, isn't it? Lily continued. Poor Sev was allergic to whatever they used. Madame Pomfrey gave him a sleeping draught while the swelling goes down. Remus huh? Snickered. Remus snickered, without thinking. He glanced at Lily, who was looking back at him with reproachful green eyes. She shook her head. Look, I know he hasn't been very nice to you. The other day in potions, or on the train. He's a bit of a snob, okay? Remus snorted. But I wanted to say sorry, Lily pressed on. I need to stand up to him more. Shouldn't let him get away with it. He's actually a really nice person when you get to know him. If you say so. Remus stopped walking. They were outside Slughorn's office now. The door was closed, and there were raised voices on the other side. Horace, whatever it was, they must have been a Slytherin. It was Professor McGonagall. Who else has a password? Why would a Slytherin attack their own house, Minerva? The potions master sounded very, fuck. Fruit, fruitus? Frustrated. Oh. Frustrated. You did say it was only the boys' dorm affected. Perhaps it was one of the girls. Really? Well, who else? Peeves? He never enters the common rooms. Doesn't even enter the dungeons either. Come to that. Too frightened of the bloody Baron. We ought to place a ban on all Zonk's products. From what Poppy says, it wasn't a Zonko's product. Rose hips from the greenhouse. Lupin felt a trickle of fear run down his spine. If they knew that much, would they be able to find out who'd done it? Rose hips, eh? Very clever. Slughorn actually sounded impressed. McGonagall sighed. I suppose you'd like to blame the Ravenclaws now? I just wish I knew who'd done it. He sighed heavily. Perhaps the truth will come out. I suppose it does seem more likely that it was one of the Slytherin girls, then. Then a gang of marauders creeping into the dungeons under the cloak of night with a malicious intent?